Hi, this video will show the relationship between total revenue and the price elasticity of demand when it's both elastic and inelastic, using a graphical approach to show the impact on total revenue from price changes. So we're going to examine the case where the price goes up. How a price increase impacts total revenue, both in the case where you have an inelastic consumer and the other case where you have an elastic consumer. So consider the extreme case where you have a perfectly inelastic consumer. This means the consumer does not respond at all to price changes. So their demand is a vertical line. This indicates that they want a given quantity of the item, regardless of what the price is. So consider the initial price P1. To find the total revenue, when the price is P1 for an inelastic consumer, you'd multiply P1 times Q2, or the total revenue area of A. Should you increase the price for a perfectly inelastic consumer, well, they still want to buy the same quantity Q2, but now they pay a higher price. They pay P2. So the total revenue now has increased. The total revenue will be both areas A and C due to the higher price P2 for the perfectly inelastic consumer. They want the same amount regardless of what the price is. So in these situations, whenever there's a price increase, when you have perfectly inelastic demand, total revenue will go up. And more generally, when you have simply inelastic demand and there's been a price increase, total revenue rises. It's most noticeable when demand is inelastic, perfectly inelastic. Now let's consider the second case, where you have a relatively elastic consumer. This is represented here on a relatively flat demand curve. Consider the initial point where we have the price is P1 and the demand is Q1. In this case, the total revenue before price goes up is both areas A and B. Now has been a price increase and you have relatively elastic consumers. This means they are relatively sensitive to price increases, and a price increase leads to a larger quantity demand reduction. This is seen here graphically going from P1 to P2. This higher price increase has cut the amount of consumers' demand from Q1 more than half to Q2. So we have now a new total revenue area of A and C at a higher price P2, and now of course Q2 is what is demanded. This total revenue area has shrunk. A and C is smaller than A and B, the area underneath the demand curve, due to the price increase on a case where you have elastic consumers. So in summarizing this, price increases reduce total revenue when you have elastic consumers. Price increases raise total revenue when you have inelastic or perfectly inelastic consumers.